What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here, and I want to talk to you about motorcycle tires. This is going to be a big, long video. It's going to be an ultimate guide to this. I don't want you crashing, and honestly, a lot of the problems I see out there on the road is people have tires that are about to be blown up. So, guys, you might need to get new tires. This is going to be the video for you, and thank you, Get Lowered Cycles, for this t-shirt. When you wear it, you get a little bit of extra little chest hairs. Now, this is my mic. Anyways, if you like this kind of stuff, please click subscribe. And I just want to say a special thank you to my patrons. You guys are awesome. You make this possible. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. So first off, do you need new tires? That is a big question because, maybe you don't need new tires. You think you do. I mean, how do you really know, right? So are you at your depth indicator? Now, on multiple tires, different brands, different everything, you're going to find depth indicators. You're going to find, when you're going to need to change your tire. There's special millimeters and everything. Like, people use pennies to double check, once you get to Abraham Lincoln's face or whatever, you can double check that. But definitely look at the tread indicator. And then even if you get closer to the tread indicator, the depth indicator, you might have to just change your tires out for the type of riding you do. If you ride a lot in the rain, if it rains a lot, you might have to change them out sooner than when you get to the depth indicator, because you're going to need that traction and then those grooves to move the water around. Also, do you have any damage to your tire? That is a huge thing. Damage to your tire can really you're gonna have to get a new tire. Sometimes plugs can work, sometimes they don't. So do you got a nail in your tire? Do you have a screw in your tire? I've seen some people post some pictures of some crazy things inside their tires. Also, it's not just running over stuff that will cause damage to your tire. You can hit a bump, you can hit a pothole or something like that. You can hit a curb and it's gonna cause damage to the tire, and you're gonna have to replace the tire, along with the rim. You might have broken the bead of the tire to the rim, so you're gonna have to possibly get a new tire. Is the sidewall splitting? Now, that is an issue that I have here in Arizona, southern Arizona, is that the sun can really damage your tires if you don't have a cover on them, or if you don't, keep them in the shade. Also, the age of the tire, you're gonna start getting sidewall splitting a little bit. And I took my snobbies off-road. I took my bike off-road, so I probably hit something and caused some sidewall damage. So my tread on the front tire was very good, and then I started getting some sidewall damage though. So it was about time for me to change out my tire. Are you planning a long distance ride? That is a huge thing. Do you need new tires because of that? Let's say you have probably 1,000 miles left on your tire, roughly 1,000 miles, and you're gonna go out for about an 800 to 1,200 mile trip. You're gonna have to change your tires at some point during the trip. So is it better to change it during the trip or change it before the trip? So you might need to kind of consider that, and don't be like, well, I'm just gonna change it when I get back, because you might not have the tire depth. You might not have a tire after that, after the trip. So double check on what you have planned in the coming months, in the coming weeks, and if it does mean that you're gonna have to change your tire before the trip, make sure you change your tire before the trip. Also, remember that rear tires wear out more than the front. They're faster than the front. Because you have all your, your chain, you have your belt drive, everything. It's a lot wider. That's where it has a lot of the power and contact with the ground. So you're going to wear out your rear tire almost twice as fast as your front tire. And that is what I've came up with. That's what I've seen, and that's what I've seen on the internet. My own tires have worn out that same exact way. So when you buy the set of tires, you usually will buy, both set right at the beginning, and then you're going to change out your rear tire, and then you can maybe keep your front tire. But basically every 2 tire changes you're going to be doing your front tire, and every tire change is probably going to be your rear tire. Also, now you have to decide on a tire. Now let's say you figured out you need new tires. Okay, so let's decide on one. Are you going to stick with the stock tires that came with your bike? Because for my Harley Davidson, I think they're called Michelin Scorchers. Now they're called Michelin Commander 2s or something like that. And I actually really like them. I'm sticking with them. I have them on my bike now. When I switched from Commander 2s to Knobbies, I'm back to Commander 2s, and I like them. But I've also had some really good track tires. I thought that was really cool, but they didn't last very long. They lasted maybe 2,000-3,000 miles versus 10,000 miles. So you're gonna have to kind of think of what you want to get. You can change it up. You can really change it up. You can get Knobbies, you can get track tires, like I said. You can get tires mainly for distance, so it has a really strong rubber compound in the center, so it won't wear out for long distance stuff, but it might not have the great cornering abilities that some of these tires have, but you're gonna have a really good long distance tire with specific tires like that. Also think about, the tire design. there's a lot of cool looking tires out there that are 50-50 on road, off road, 100% on road, but they have a different cool tire tread looking. You can also get white walls, you can change it up. A lot of cool things that you can do with bike tires that really change the look and appearance of your bike. Now you really do need to see what speed the tires are rated for. That is a huge, huge deal. That's something that I looked up for the knobbies, and it made it to where my front tire couldn't go past, I think it was 85 miles an hour, my rear tire can go 90. That is a huge difference from the Commander 2s where I can go 120 plus. So you really have to check and see what speed you can go with these tires, because if you get a certain tire because you like the looks, but it's not rated for a certain speed, and you go that certain speed, there's a good chance you're gonna have a blowout or a catastrophic failure. So make sure you get the tire that will match your riding speed. Now obviously if you're going 95, 120 plus, you're not gonna be doing that on the typical public roads. So do not get knobby tires or tires that aren't rated for speed if you're gonna be going to track days. You know what I mean? That makes sense. Also, you can also get tires that are rated for really, really high speeds but will wear out quickly. You don't want to get those for public use roads just because you're going to be spending a ton of money and you're not really going to get any benefit out of those tires specifically. Also look for load indexes. Now these things make sure that your tire and loads and everything is working correctly. So when you get a tire, you want to match what you weigh and your bike weighs and what loads you're going to put on. So if you're going to do a lot of motorcycle camping, if you're going to do a lot of touring, you're going to have a passenger on your bike all the time, you're going to want to get a tire that is specifically rated for a certain load. That way you don't blow out a tire, like I said, have a catastrophic failure. You can find all these codes and all these different things, and it's pretty kind of confusing, but I'll have some stuff popping up here, and they're on the side of the motorcycle's tire. You also want to match the front tire and the rear tire. And I don't mean match the front tire in terms of you have to have the same brand, which is, it's good to have the same brand. You don't have to. So with my knobbies, I had a Duro median front tire and Midas EOS 7 rear tire. And when I matched the front and rear, what that meant was I matched the front knobby to a rear knobby. You do not want to have like knobbies up front and a street, tire in the back. So that's what I mean by matching front and rear tire. So match the type of tires to each other. You really don't want to mix it up like that, and it could cause some stability issues and cause some turning issues for you. Also, don't put a rear tire on the front or a front tire on the rear. They do specifically make front tires, they do specifically make rear tires, and if they do say this is a front/rear tire, double check it and make sure you're doing the right thing. You also want to check the tire's age. Now this is a huge thing because you can go and get new tires, get them installed, and find out they're old, and that sucks. Usually bike tires last 5 to 10 years, depending on where they were kept, if they were in direct sunlight, if they were used, blah blah blah, all these things. So about 5 to 10 years, 5 to 7 years is the golden number. But if you really want to check out the tire that you're going to buy, let's say you're going to go to the dealership, hey, I want to put some new tires on, can I check the tires first? Can I look at the tires first? Ask that. So go look at the tire and you'll see it on the sidewall, and it'll be four digits. It's going to be 4 numbers, and for instance, for example, 3516. You're going to see 3516. What that means, it was born on, it was created on the 35th week of 2016. So you don't want to get something that is like 5 years old, because now you're coming into the end cycle of that life of that tire. Double check, make sure you're getting a new tire. They're not just giving you old stock that is about to blow out. They shouldn't be doing that if they're a reputable dealership or reputable tire exchange place. So double check all that stuff. So remember, 4 digits. 3516 means 35th week of 16. 4218, 42nd week of 2018. But here's the thing, tires do last 5 to 10 years, but in storage, 2 or more years in storage. In storage, it's like they need to be used. Does that make sense? So do not grab a tire that is super old. Try not to. Here's a little extra tip that I do whenever I get new tires, is that I write the motorcycle mileage that I have on my bike at that moment on the sidewall of that tire in Sharpie. That way I know how many miles I've had on that tire, so I can check my odometer, and I can see where everything's at. It's like, okay, well, I'm at 32,000 miles. When did I get these tires? 29,322 miles. Okay, so I still got some mileage on this tire. Oh, this tire looks great. Okay, we're doing good. I might get these tires again because they last this long. So that's a little extra tip that I do, and you know what? It doesn't break your tire. It doesn't mess up your tire if you ride on the side. Also, new tires equals a new bike. It's a brand new bike. Like I remember when I got the Scorchers on here instead of the knobbies, and oh my gosh, it felt way different. Your bike profile will be completely changed. The handling, the braking, acceleration, everything. And even if you go from, let's say, the Scorcher 2s or Commander 2s to Commander 2s again, you went from a bike that you obviously needed to change your tire, so you had low tread, to a tire that has max tread. So you are still going to see that difference. It doesn't have to be just from knobbies to street tires to knobbies. You will see that difference. So be extra, extra, extra careful. Be super careful. So ride nice and easy, ride straight, warm up the tires, you know, go about 10 miles to where you're taking everything super easy. After the 10 miles, after the tires have warmed up, you can start taking turns a little bit more sharply, but ease it in, nice and easy. That way you get some roughing on the tires. Think of it as like, I'm gonna say sandpaper, but I'm gonna talk about that pretty soon. Think about it as basically roughing up the tire, making the sandpaper like a sandpaper-esque instead of just like a piece of paper, so that way it grips the asphalt a lot better. So what they call that is called mechanical grip on the tire. So for the first 100 miles or so, or the first gas tank, wait for the tires to fully heat up before going crazy on the bike. The first 5-10 minutes of riding, let the tires heat up, let them heat up. If you try to sandpaper it, it's not going to work. So do not just ride home and get a sandpaper on the bike and try to make it work. You're just taking away tire and it's not getting the tread that it needs to get. The top layer of the tire when you first buy it is not the problem. The problem is that it's cold, the problem that it hasn't gotten a mechanical grip yet on it. So when you get your bike nice and warm and it starts to get malleable, so when you start riding, it is going to create that grip. You do not want to get rid of tire. You're just killing it doesn't work anyways. You need to heat up the bike in the first place. So the next thing you need to do is check your tire pressure regularly. This is huge. Either check it all the time cold, check it hot. You need to figure out what it is that normally is at hot or cold tires. But I have a little tire pressure gauge that I bought and I keep it inside my saddlebags. It works wonders. I just pop it out, check my tires, call it a day. And the cool thing about motorcycle tires is you can use a tire pump that's rated to that tire pressure and just pump up your tires. You don't have to go to the gas station and pump up your tires if you don't have to. One thing I like about QT out here in Tucson is that all their air compressors are free. So that's great. I don't have to pay for air. But if you don't have that, if you have a tire pump for your bicycle, that'll work too. But double check it pretty much once a week. If you're underinflated, you're going to get wear on your tire that is not good. It's going to change up the dynamics of how you ride. You could have a possible catastrophic failure to that. And same thing with overinflated tires. If you hit a bump, boom, your tire's gone. And that's not good. So make sure your tire is pumped up to the rating that tire is supposed to be at. All right, guys, let's say you need to get new tires. You went and got new tires. You broke them in. You're checking the tire pressure. Now you just have to enjoy them. Enjoy them. Make sure you are loving your bike, you're riding around. And if you don't enjoy them, if you don't like them, wear them out. Wear them out and check out some new tires. I really like my Michelin Commander 2s on my bike, but if you want to get knobbies for your Sportster, you got the 19-inch wheel and the 16-inch rear wheel. I have a set of those, the Duro Median and the Midas EOS 7s. I have links to that in the description, but other than that, I hope you guys are all riding safe. Once again, special thank you to my patrons. If you want to be part of the DDFM crew, there's a link in the description, and you get your name popped up here depending on the tier you're at. And just want to say thank you once again. I'll see you guys later.